What is going on, guys and girls, and welcome to episode 11 of the Be More podcast. And as you can see, we have a new layout. If you are listening on YouTube, you'll be able to see me a little bit closer up. We're being filmed now by my Mac rather than by my camera, and we have this lovely new microphone, ideal for podcasts because the sound quality was what I feel was letting us down a little bit in the previous 10 episodes. So we've invested, myself and Simon, in the Blue Yeti. It's supposed to be the top dog for podcast microphone equipment. So yeah, I am a solo again today. So we're probably going to work the podcast on a basis of we're going to get a guest on the show as frequently as possible to talk about their story and hopefully to aim to obviously motivate and inspire people. And then whenever we can't get a guest, me and Simon will do a podcast ourselves, or I'll go solo because the solo ones have had quite a lot of good feedback. So that isn't me blowing my own trumpet, that's just me just talking about, well, just being honest on the feedback that we've had, and people do seem to like them. So I'm going to rant for half an hour. I've written a few things down on my phone like I normally do that I want to talk about. And yeah, we're going to talk about that. So it's now Tuesday. I do try to post the podcast on a Monday, but as you might have been aware, if you follow me on Instagram, I was in Budapest at the weekend. Very messy stag do. And loads of you who followed my story, the feedback was pretty good on the story. So it was a very messy weekend. And somehow, I'm not hungover. Like, I thought I'd be a write-off for like 3 or 4 days. Got back, on Sunday morning we woke up after 3 nights on it. And I somehow didn't feel bad. Like, I just necked like 3 or 4 pints of water, had a shower, and then thought, I'm going to go and read. I had a book in my bag, and I went and read for like 3 hours while the lads were just trying to bring themselves around. And yesterday, some of them even struggled to make it into work. I was smashing it all day. Somehow, not had a hangover. So, long may that fucking continue, because I was thinking about quitting drinking, because I used to suffer with hangovers that bad. But yeah, back to the podcast. Obviously, this is going to be posted today. A little bit later than normal, but that'll be why. But yeah, super busy at the moment. And so this morning, Facebook keeps posting me them bloody reminders. 1 year ago today, Jack. I know I was travelling 1 year ago today. And that's what I basically want to talk about today. So I know I've harped on about that travelling quite a few times. So basically a year ago today, I was in Australia feeding wallabies in this rock, these wild wallabies. We went and found them, took some food, and it was just such a cool experience. So yeah, we was feeding some wallabies under these rocks in Australia, and it was just a surreal moment. And I basically just looked at that photo, and then on the way home from work today, just kind of reflected on the last 12 months of my life. And I can genuinely say they've been the best 12 months of my life. Like, a few things have happened that have been a bit shit. That's life. I think that just tends to happen anyway. Well, it hasn't changed the fact that it's been the best 12 months of my life. That doesn't mean to say that everything's been positive. There's been negatives as well, but they're negatives that I've learned from, and that have changed me and who I am as a person. And like, I'm so grateful for every single thing that's happened, good and bad, because I think that's what creates who we are as people. And that for me, yeah, it's just been an unbelievable 12 months. Travelling just opened my eyes to so many things. I don't think I learnt like a great deal in New Zealand and Australia. So if we rewind back to before travelling, so what I'll do is I'm going to tell you where I was at, and then tell you what happened travelling, and then the journey since then in the 12 months that we just had, where I'm at now, and try and give you maybe some insight into that 12 months and what it's been like for me to go through that, and how I am now and how I intend to move forward for the next 12 months. So before traveling, I was running my business. So that year I competed in a bodybuilding show. And after that show, so that then 3 months leading into that prep for that show, I was incredibly focused. Like I think one of the main reasons why I'm so I excel with discipline now is because of how them preps were so extreme. And I think where I overcame the obstacles that I was faced in that prep, that's helped me now with like discipline in other areas that I'm trying to like drive into now. So I'm so grateful for them preps, as much as they were hard, and they were like, people who were listening who've done a bodybuilding diet before, or like a show, and got to that level of conditioning, then you'll kind of understand like the level of commitment that it takes. And I was from a point of it. I wanted to make it as difficult for myself as I possibly could. So I worked with a coach, and he basically, well, he didn't really look after me that well. I had the same food every day for 12 weeks, like the exact same food at the same time of day. Like I was literally the most regimented I've ever been. And I was just consistent with that approach, and I stuck to it like glue for 12 weeks. Even though it made me feel awful, it developed like an eating problem where I binged for probably about 3 months afterwards. And yeah, it wasn't like a pleasant experience, but I think what I learned on that experience was discipline and doing what's required, and just doing it no matter how. Like, everyone's motivated for 10 minutes. It's what you do when you're not motivated that will dictate your result. Because we can't always be fucking motivated, unfortunately. I'd love it if we could be, but there's gonna be days where you'll wake up and just not feel it, or there'll be afternoons where you don't want to do the gym session, or you don't want to do the call that you've got to make for your next client, or you don't want to eat chicken, rice and broccoli. But I just was consistently doing what I didn't want to do. And that taught me a lot. And the show didn't go the way I wanted it to. I didn't place. And it taught me a lot. Like I felt like I was a failure. I remember I was driving back and forth to Wales every week to train with this guy, and he was teaching me how to pose. And I remember the week before the show, I was driving back and I was literally crying in my car, thinking how much I wanted to do well, just to see, just so my dad could watch and be proud. That and my family were all going to watch. I was like, I just really want to do them proud. It wasn't even about it wasn't about winning for me, but I wanted to do other people proud. And I remember I was emotional, like the whole. And I don't really get emotional. The only time I've been emotional in my life really was when I was a lot younger, when my parents were to break up. I don't really get emotional. I go through ups and downs in moods, but I literally was in the car driving back from where I was like crying. Like I knew that I wanted it that bad, and then I didn't place, and I didn't feel upset about not placing. I just think I lost my purpose, because I had 12 weeks of just working towards a goal, and then it was gone. And that for me was really difficult. Like it took me a while to come out the other side. And the person my girlfriend at the time, she did the same competition. She then came out of it in a similar kind of position where she lost her drive and her focus. And I think we just struggled a little bit. And like, I genuinely think I lost a bit of my identity. Like I just didn't really know what I was working towards. So in the time that in my prep when my business was excelling, because I was just on another level, that just backed off, and I thought I couldn't put my finger on it. And then like 9 months flew by. I was just training to try and get bigger and bigger and bigger, because I didn't win. And I knew that the reason why I didn't win was because I was just too small on stage. There was guys who were 5-6 years older than me with that much more training experience. So I was like, I need to get bigger. So I was putting away lots of calories. I was trying to get bigger in the gym, and all of my focus was on that, and the fact that it was all about the fact that I wasn't good enough. So we got to like November, October, I think it was, and I decided that I wanted to take some time out. So again, the girlfriend I was with at the time, we went to STA Travel, and we went in and said, we want to go traveling. What can you do? Where can we go? We had an idea of what the places we wanted to go to, and we left that day with a trip booked, 13 weeks booked, and we went 2 months later. I didn't have any, like I saved for 2 months, then we went traveling, and 13 weeks was a life-changing experience. So I worked online while I was away, but I only took on like 10 clients. So I didn't have to do a great deal of work. It was just programming and check-ins for 10 clients, which didn't take that much time. So I literally didn't work for 13 weeks. And I just had an opportunity just to relax. And because I was working probably for 4 years, like 60, 70 hours a week. And my life revolved around bodybuilding and work. And I stopped playing football. Like I kind of put everything in my life on hold just to pursue the goal of bodybuilding. And I, on my travels, I thought I'm going to put that to bed now. I don't think I want to do that anymore. Um, and then I got back from traveling, and I didn't train for 13. I think I went to one gym or two gyms in 13 weeks, and I wasn't very happy with how I looked. And I obviously did one bodybuilding show before, working with a coach, and my goal was to then go and do another one, doing it myself and doing it my own way, doing it with like a flexible approach, just to prove that I could probably get a better result than this best coach in the world guy could get with me, because this is what he's regarded as, by myself, without him giving me this ridiculous plan. I thought I could go and beat it, and I thrive off challenge, I thrive off goals. So I literally got back, and within 2 weeks I was back in a prep for another show. And in that time I had stag do's that I went on, had fun. Like I just completely changed my approach to the way I approach my health and fitness. And then, cut a long story short, 8 weeks, 9 weeks later, I was in the best shape of my life again. Competed, come third in a show, but the same kind of problems that came with the previous show, they weren't as big, but they were still there. So like, I got really lean, and when you get really lean, you can't get an erection, or you have no sex drive, and that for a guy is never fucking good. I wanted to eat everything in sight. I binged after the show again, like not as bad. Like I would eat well all day, and then in the evening when I had about an hour to myself before bed after working for 15, 16 hours, I'd probably eat anything in the house. And it just wasn't a good relationship to have. Like I just didn't feel healthy. Like I'd feel good all day, and then I'd eat myself into a coma. And I just wasn't representing and being the person that I wanted to be. So I then told myself again, I had to sit down, and I was just like, I'm not going to fucking do this anymore. Like I'm not going to slug myself into the ground to compete in a competition where I don't really like anyone. Like you turn up on the day and everyone looks at you like you're a fucking twat and like you're competition, rather than, I was looking at people saying, well done, you've done amazing. And they were looking back at me thinking, you're a fucking prick, I want to beat you. And yeah, I just didn't, I don't know. There's obviously a lot of bodybuilders out there that aren't like that, and that are completely genuine and nice people. But I learned on that day that I probably wouldn't do it again. And I qualified to compete in the British finals, and I decided not to do it. There and then, I didn't have any inclination to do it. I wanted to get my life back to normal again. It took a few months. Like you don't just reset from eating a pizza and then you get back to normal. That your willy comes back and your eating disorder fucking disappears. It doesn't happen. So I decided from that moment, like, okay, I need to get over this problem I have with food, and I need to just chill, and I need to try and find a way of doing things whereby I look amazing and feel amazing all year. That's what I wanted to do. And by that point, what were we, probably about October, November last year, so like 5-6 months ago. And I was doing my YouTube channel, which obviously I started when I got back from traveling. I was really enjoying that, like, and I was enjoying the feedback that I was getting. My business by this point was better than I could ever have intended. So I got back from traveling. I was fully booked 1-to-1 within 2-3 months. Moved gyms, so I come back to one gym, then moved back to the one I was at previously, and I was just happy with my setup. And then online, my business has gone from, like, I set a goal with my online business, and I beat that by 3 times within a couple of months. And I'm just my goals have moved on from there now. That they're even further, and I basically exceeded everything that I set out to do within the 12 months that I got back from traveling. And I had no idea that I'd be doing any of the things that I'm doing now. And it isn't really until a minute ago that I just thought, what's happened in the last 12 months? Like, so much has happened. Obviously, me and my ex-girlfriend broke up not long after we got back from traveling. That wasn't something I expected to happen either. And that was tough, but like at the same time, I feel like I'm super grateful for everything that we had together, because I wanted to go traveling for a long time, but like I said before, I was never willing to go on my own. I was too scared. I was too scared to go on my own, so I needed someone to hold my hand for my first trip. And since I've been to Australia again on my own since, and I've had the most incredible time. So I'm grateful for her for holding my hand on my first trip. And now I'll happily travel all over the world on my own, and have I've learned so much. I made so many friends while I was away. Like, I have no regrets for any of it. And me and my ex-girlfriend don't talk anymore, which, yeah, that's just the way it is. But I'm just grateful for everything that she did for me. And people know obviously the way we broke up, and they're like, oh, maybe you hate each other, and I'm like, you know what, I don't. Like, I'm just grateful for everything. I'm grateful for every single negative thing that's ever happened in my life, and I'm grateful for every good thing as well. And everything that happens for a reason, and it's just an opportunity for you to learn from it. And I've realised that in the last year or so, like rather than being a victim, I literally have learned to take responsibility for everything that happens in my life. And I know that the goals I have set moving forward are just they're a reflection on where I am now. Whereas I wouldn't have made these goals 12 months ago because I wouldn't have seen them to be possible. But life is a journey, and I feel like in the last 12 months I've evolved in who I am so much. So obviously my goals will evolve as well, and my ability to execute on them will evolve. And I'll set goals now that are difficult, but I know for a fact that I've got ridiculous amounts of self-belief now that I'm going to achieve it, because I know the process, I understand the process. And it isn't like that. Isn't me being big-headed. Like I never used to have self-belief. Like I've told you when I've done my shows and I lost my identity and I thought I wasn't good enough. Like I never thought I was. I always had this I've got like a delusional quality where I think I do, but have this like weird self-belief in myself. No matter what people might say, oh, when are you going to get a real job, Jack, or like whatever it might be. Like I don't live a normal life. Like I'm not living to society's norms. Like yeah, I'm just completely different to everything that is normally accepted. Like, for example, everyone in my family has a job. I don't have a job. I'm self-employed and I run my own business. And that for my family isn't really normal, that they see the Monday to Friday 9 to 5 graft as normal. I don't. I see the wake up on a Monday at 4 a.m. and work until Sunday at 10 p.m. as my normal. That's what I like to do. And that makes me different, but it doesn't mean that, I don't know what I'm even saying, but I've just always had a self-belief in myself that I could do something. But there was times where my confidence was hit from the things that I did, and I wasn't being true to the person that I wanted to try and represent. Like I want to try and represent health. I want to try and represent like fitness, mindset, like self-belief, the fact that we only get fucking one life. Like I'm trying to get that message out there. Like people are living their life like they're a cat. And I spoke about this a few times, like, we don't have 9 opportunities at this life. If you don't like what you do for a living, then fucking change. Like, if you're not happy with the way you look, then change. Like, you are not a fucking tree. You can move, you can change, you can change the people you surround yourself with. But there's so many things that you can do. And I think that's what I've learned a lot, like, over the last few years. Like, I've been massively into self-development for quite a long time now. And I've spent lots and lots of time reading books and spending money on courses just to try and develop myself as a person. I feel like that's so important, and I feel like that like accumulation of doing them things over time for the last 3-4 years has helped me to develop the mindset that I have now. But I also believe that it's just drilled in me from when I was young. Like I've always had leadership kind of qualities from when I was young. Like if I look back, like I spoke about in the last podcast, like I was always captain of football teams, even though I was quite a shy, I would say shy lad, but amongst the lads, I'd always be quite extroverted. But in other situations, I'd be quite shy. But I'd always have them leadership qualities where I kind of like, I know I'm good when I lead by example. So for me, like bodybuilding wasn't leading by example because it was just this bulking and cutting approach where for 9 months of the year I'd be not overweight, but I'd just be bulking, and I wouldn't be able to run 5k very fast. And whereas now I'm in the probably as good a shape as I'll ever be, but I don't struggle to get. It's my lifestyle. It isn't like a fucking hard diet to get like this. Like, for me, this is just my lifestyle now, and it's just how I eat, and this is how I like to feel, and it's just everything has changed. And I feel like that's a result of just an accumulation of what I've learned over the last few years. So rather than seeing the mistakes and seeing everything as negatives, I've seen them as obviously an opportunity for me to build what I've got now, which is just being true to who I want to be, and true to who I want to represent as a coach and as someone who helps inspire people. Like if they see me up and down in weight all year and struggling with self-confidence, that isn't going to set an example. And I know that from when I was younger, like when I'm leading by example, when I'm being a leader, and when I'm like trying to, it works for me better that way. And I think it's just a self-awareness. And over the last year, I've become self-aware. Like, I didn't know who I was before. That's why I went traveling. I was looking for who I was, or maybe who I want to be. I just knew I didn't want to be like everyone else. I knew I didn't want to live in the mindset of I'm working 9 to 5 and I'm going to be dictated what I do by someone else. Like, I can't. I'm never going to have that drive where I want to listen to or be told what to do all the time with my time and be in certain places at certain times. So yeah, I knew that, but I didn't know. I've just built up more self-awareness over the last 12 months. And I think that's what's changed the game for me now. So let's see what points I've covered on my phone. So yeah, the thing that's changed, I think, is my clarity. Like, I know who I am, I know who I want to be, and I know what I want to represent. And that's so fucking important. Like, you can't go through life without understanding what it is exactly you want. Like, it's a problem people have in the gym and with training, with diet. Like, they're not going to stick to it because they don't really know why they're doing it. Whereas I know exactly what I want to be, who I want to, what I want to look like, and what I need to do in my day every day to move me towards the goals that I've got set. Like, I know exactly, I can pinpoint exactly what I'm doing, and I can guarantee that if I do them things, I know I'll get to the end result. Whereas I think people lack that understanding, that awareness, and that belief that if they execute on the things that they're setting out to do, then they're going to guarantee that result. And that's where people fall short, and that's where I used to fall short. Was I'll just be going at things blindly. It was like going into a den trying to find a needle in a haystack. I didn't know what I was doing. So when you don't know what you're doing, you don't know how to reverse engineer the goal you've got set. So I want abs, great. Like, but do you know how to get abs? Like, are you in a calorie deficit? Are you training progressively? Are you eating well? Are you doing the right things in the gym? These are things that people don't really know the answer to, so they can't execute on them things to make that actual end goal a reality. And this is where, like, my self-development's helped me massively, and like the money that I've spent on learning on how to be a better coach and how to learn or how to get from where you are to where you want to be. And there's a process that we have to go through. And if you're just sat there like feeling like a victim for the fact that you haven't got the results that you want and doing nothing about it, then this is why you're not moving forward. Whereas if you invest your time and your money, like I try to invest 10% of my income on self-development, whether that be books or mentorships or courses or seminars, like whatever it might be, I'm investing that to try and improve who I am as a person. And I read a book last week called No Excuses, which I definitely would recommend reading. And they say that they recommend doing at least 5% of their income on courses and build that up to 10%. And I guarantee that what the money you invest will not be an expense. It will not be. People think, I can't afford to do that. If you're earning £1,000 a month, you can't afford £100 a month in self-development. But at the end of the day, that £100 will turn into a lot more money, because you're then going to improve your performance, which will then improve your income, which will then change the amount you can invest into yourself, because you're earning more money, therefore your 10% goes up. And this is the way to look at things. Rather than see things as an expense, see things as an investment into what will accumulate into a compounded interest into an even greater result, and that therefore and a changed life and a happier outcome, because you're making progress. We are hardwired to work towards and to make progress. We aren't hardwired to be negative, yet we're becoming that way because we struggle to break the mold and achieve results. So yeah, like for me, if you aren't actively reading, if you aren't listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks, and just listening to things that are relevant to the goals you've got set to teach you more, that's all free. Like, if you aren't doing them, then you need to start doing them, like YouTube videos, whatever it might be. Like, even from when I was like 15, I was addicted to watching YouTube videos on motivation. Like, addicted. Like, I was like, one day I will try and be the person on the other end of the video trying to motivate people. And that's why I do this podcast, why I do my YouTube, because I'm trying to just share motivation, which helped me. Like, I'd wake up in the morning and I'd turn on a Greg Plitt video. He was like a fitness model at the time, an American guy who would just shout these random fitness motivational rants, and it would just get me going. And I'd go to the gym. Whereas if I didn't hear that, I'd probably be sat on my Xbox playing Gears of War. So it's just, yeah. I feel like if I can then maybe share some motivational stuff or something like where I'm speaking to a camera like this, and someone can take action on it and maybe go and buy a book, or maybe go for a walk tonight, or do something healthy, or do something positive, then I'm doing something or giving something back for the things that I've benefited from in the past. And these things are all free, but I try now to read for 1 hour a day. I'll read at least a minimum of 10 pages, which is a principle I learned from a book called The Slight Edge. Read for 10 pages a day for the next 5 years and watch your life change. Like, it isn't going to change in one day. Like, this is the thing that people have this misconception of I'll read 10 pages for a month. Like, you'll read 300 pages. It isn't going to achieve much. You might read a book, which might be a great book, but it isn't going to change much in your life. Whereas if you read a book, read 10 pages a day for the next 3 or 4 years, you'll read probably 15 books, 20 books. And then all of a sudden, you'll change the way you act massively. Same as if you are on a diet, right? And you're on a diet for a month, you might lose a stone. But if you come off the diet, you ain't going to keep the results from it. Nothing's going to happen. Whereas if you go on a lifestyle change and you change the way you eat in a sensible way, for the next 3 years, that you'll be in the best shape of your life and you'll be the healthiest you've ever been. And that's the way to look at things. You need to look at things with a micro daily activity you have to execute on to deliver you a macro result on a long-term level that will change who you are as a person and improve all the things that you are, about who you are, and your just level of performance will go from where you are now to where you want it to be. And it will happen, like, honestly, just from small daily tasks. Like, this is why I'm such a believer in just doing things, small tasks daily, and being fucking disciplined, to taking responsibility for the things you set out to do. Like, so my clients, for example, a lot of them have whiteboards. I'm like, right, on your whiteboard, you're going to put on there protein that you're going to hit for the day, calories, steps, like water, training. There's 5 things right there, and they'll put them 5 things down in a line. Then they'll put 7 boxes next to it. So there's 35 things to tick off in a week. And they tick them off, and I'll also get them to read as well. I'm like, right, we're going to not only get you in the best shape of your life, but we're going to improve your mindset. So not only are you going to get in great shape over the next 3 or 4 months that you're with me, but then you're going to have the mindset that then enables you to continue to keep developing yourself after your period of working with me. If you decide that you've learned what you need to learn, then it's a continual process. And that's what I try to get all my clients to. So there could be 42 boxes there, and every day you go through and you just tick them off, like one at a time. Done your steps. Yep. Have you got your sleep in? Yep. Have you drunk enough water? Yep. Have you eaten enough protein? Yep. Have you trained hard? Yep. Have you got your calories right? Yep. Have you read today 10 pages? Yep. All of a sudden, there's 7 things right there that I've just listed off. That's 49 things for a week. Tick them off. They're small things. Tick them off for the next 3 or 4 years. You'll be a different person. And there's people like, I've set 8-week programs and these stupid 21-day cleanses. Like, they're not the answer. That all they're doing is creating a 21-day fix to the fucking problems that you've got. You have to make small changes that you can sustain to achieve a long-term result that will change who you are as a person. And then you're a new person. Therefore, the results you've got you can keep because you're different then. Like, I'm a different person now to I was a year ago, and I'm a different person now to I was 2 years ago. I'm a different person now to I was 4 or 5 months ago. And my vision now for the next 12 months is a different vision than the one I would have had 12 months ago. And my confidence in my execution now is different to what it would have been before. That you evolve, but you're only going to evolve if you work through the things that you're working towards, and you don't give up, and you remain disciplined, and you remain on task. That you have to just do it, even when you don't feel like fucking doing it. This is why they're small things, because you can maintain that. Like, it isn't hard to get your calories right. It isn't hard to hit protein. It isn't hard to do 10,000 steps a day. It's the easy things to do and the easy things not to do that make the difference. Everyone knows what to do. We just don't do them. They're easy things. They're easy things to regulate and maintain. Like 10,000 steps a day isn't hard. Yet how many people do you know who actually do it? Everyone knows they should do it. Everyone knows they should move more. 3 litres of water a day. Everyone knows they should drink 3 litres of water a day. But do they? No, they don't. Everyone knows they should probably eat more vegetables. Do they do it? Nah. Like, it's the easy things to do and the easy things not to do that the successful people continuously do. They continuously execute on the easy things. They're not doing these big drastic things all the time, but it evolves. Their easy things become harder. But for them, they're easier because they're manageable tasks because they've evolved and they're going through that level of process. Like my best self journal that I've got, these things here, Game Changers by the way, they're 13-week journals that you basically set a goal for 13 weeks and you work towards them every day. These have changed my life. Honestly, if I was to show you my journal when I first used one of these things, the level of performance from then to now on my day-to-day tasks is ridiculous. Like, it's so different. Like I would probably put 3 or 4 things in there to do for a day, and I would struggle to do all 3. Whereas now, for example, yesterday I had to do on my to-do list. Where is it? Like it's just a long list of things, and yeah, you're right. They all got fucking ticks. Lessons learned for the day. Like you can fucking do it. That's the main thing I put. Like whereas before that kind of list would have scared the shit out of me. But it's just being disciplined and reading and understanding time management and all of these things. Like it's a process you have to go through. So you can't just sit there and copy my best self journal and think if I do exactly what Jack's done, I'll be in exactly the right place. Like it's not that simple, isn't that? It's a process you have to go through. It's a journey. But the things that I've got in place for my clients in like weight loss or fat loss or muscle building, like it's a journey whereby with the process it evolves as your body evolves with it, and that's the progressive nature of the training and of the results that we want to achieve. And yeah, wow, I've ranted for 31 minutes. Have I covered everything? What are my goals moving forward? So I'm 26 this month. 26, and I'm living at home, so that's something that I want to try and sort out. So I've got 2 weeks left on this best self journal, and I'm going to then start a new one straight away, in which I'm going to work for 13 weeks. So basically in 15 weeks time, my next goal would have been reached, and then I'll move out into my own place, and I'm going to get a new car. I might get a new car before, because my current one's actually, I've finished the payments on it now. Or I can give it back and basically get a new one. I don't want them PCP hire things. So I'm going to get a new car, whether I wait until I move out though, which is probably what I might do, because I kind of want to do it both at the same time. And I don't really want to have a brand new car when I live in that house. I just look like a fucking prick. So yeah, they're 2 things I really want to drastically sort out this year. So they'll definitely happen. There's some goals that I've got set. And yeah, just to continue to improve in business, my relationships with people, more networking, make more friends. Like, yeah, I've got so many goals that I want to work towards. Like even performance in the gym, the podcast. It's just, but it's just part of my life now. It's a consistency. It's just, yeah, they're not goals that I'm going to lose sleep over, but they're still big goals, and that I know that if I continuously work towards them, they'll happen. And I just have that self belief in the process. My vision moving forward is based around that. Obviously, I'm also investing in properties now. So like, I've got multiple streams of multiple businesses that aren't all providing income at the minute. But the idea is I'll have multiple streams of income, so I can provide for the goals that I've got set, which is obviously financial freedom for my parents, which is what I'm working towards. They gave me this mindset and life that I've got, and I'm fucking so lucky and grateful. Like beyond what I can explain. So therefore, I'm big enough and ugly enough to look after myself now, even though I'm still living at Daddy's house. That will all change this year, but then I'm going to start providing for them like they provided for me my whole life. And that's my goal, that's my vision, and that's why I work harder now than I ever before, because I now know why I'm working, and yeah, if I feel tired, like I know I've got things to do, and if I'm responsible like for myself, then I'm gonna do it. But they might take me a bit longer. Whereas if I know that the things that I'm doing are for the freedom that I want to offer to them, I'm going to get off my ass and do it. Like my why is more powerful now for me. Therefore, my actions are now a reflection on that, how powerful my why is. So yeah, that's something that I've learned this year, and that's something that, yeah, I think it's been a turning point for me big time. Also, my circle, like the people that I surround myself with, 100% has changed my life in the last 12 months. So I feel like that's like, I go back from traveling, I knew that was something that I had to work towards. Like I had to work on my network and the people I surround myself with, and I knew that I had to surround myself with people that were going to make me level up and make me up my performance. Like I needed that. That's something that I really needed, and that's something that this year seems to be, it seems to be working for me. Like I don't know if that's a reflection on the energy that I give off, and that's what I'm attracting towards me. Like I believe a lot in the law of attraction, like so I believe it's half that. And yeah, timing as well. Like I think if these people may have come into my life previously, then I wouldn't have been ready for them. Whereas now I feel ready, and I feel like I'm going to make the most of surrounding myself with people that are positive and that think in a similar way to the way I do. And that's basically so important in order for you to level up. You have to surround yourself with people that are on that level or want to help you push you to the next level, and that's so important. So yeah, I'm super excited about the people I'm around at the moment. Like I can't even begin to explain to you how excited I am about the people. Like I'm a proper people person, and I like being around people. Like I'm an introvert, and I'm always on my own. I like being on my own unless I'm obviously with clients or whatever. But yeah, I think having the right people around you when they and knowing they're there and the access to them and stuff, like yeah, it's literally game changer. Like you could be having a shit day or like a challenging day, then you have a one conversation with one person, done. Like literally, I'm back to thinking like I'm on fucking cloud nine again, and that's what I feel like at the moment. Like I'm super lucky and grateful for the people I'm around. So yeah, very very happy. But I feel like that's just that one of those things that isn't like straight away. It doesn't happen straight away. That you can't listen to this podcast and think right now I'm going to surround myself with all these amazing people. Like it's something that you evolve into, and it's something that you're one person at a time. You'll fall into a better circle, and then you're going to create like a circle that's life changing without doubt. But it's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. Like you'll probably sit there thinking, "Oh, I got off from traveling. I was like, I need to change my circle, but I've no idea where to fucking start." But like it just happens. Like if you're continuously being a positive person and looking at the positive sides of things and attracting that positive energy, then it will happen. Like, but you can't go around being negative, moaning about everything, then wondering why the people around you are also negative, moaning about everything. That you attract what you attract, and it's like a mirror. That's how it is. And my goal is to change the people that are around me that aren't so positive to make them positive. Then they can change people around them as well, and then all of a sudden we can create a much more positive community that just thrives. And that's the goal for me. I really hope this is recorded. So 4 things I wanted to finish on was the best self journal I've got. Like, please go and buy one. Like, I don't get paid if you do, but literally buy one and then just think, right, I need to fucking reverse engineer what I want. These 13 weeks are going to be the turning point for me. And even if you want to fucking message me, email me, we'll jump on a Skype or we'll go for a coffee. Like, I just want to help people, and literally just contact me and I'll help you work through your journal. Like, I want to help people achieve things and be happier and move forward and be productive. Like, when I got my journal, I didn't really know how to use it. I was guessing it, I was winging it. And if I'd have had somebody there on the other end of a podcast who said to me, do you know what, Jack? If you're going to start this best self journal, speak to someone who's actually used them. I'm on my 10th one now or whatever, and they'll help you with it. I never had that. Therefore, I probably would have been able to use it a lot more efficiently, and I would have got more out of it. So that's something that I definitely would recommend. To get a best self journal, in that you're going to be doing gratitude every day, morning and night. It changes your life, changes the way you think, and when you become more grateful for things, your mindset will change towards life, and like you'll be like, I'm grateful for that. Oh, hang on a minute, my life ain't so bad after all. Then you change the way you are. That you're a more positive person. The conversations with other people would demonstrate more positivity rather than negativity, because you're constantly thinking what you're grateful for. Therefore, your brain then starts to think in a different way, rather than thinking of, oh, fucking cold, don't want to go to work, I get paid shit money, I get fucking short lunch breaks, I get no holiday. Like, when you're always thinking like that, like, that's why you're thinking negatively and why you're communicating negatively. Oh, I'm always hungry or whatever it might be. Like, stop it. Like, take control, take responsibility, and just be grateful for what you do have, and then work towards making that better. Self-development, please start doing it. Like, it's changed my life. Like, even if you just read 10 pages a day, email me today, say, Jack, this is who I am, this is what I want to work towards, what book would you recommend? And I'll send you fucking 5 to start with, and then be like, right, read them 5, then email me again and I'll help you. Like, I do this for all of my clients. I'm like, right, read this 10 pages a day. Can you commit to that? It's good. Then after that, can we move you to 15 pages a day? Like, Warren Buffett reads for 6 hours a day or something stupid like that. He doesn't make the excuse of not having time when he runs multiple businesses. Like, if you're thinking, I haven't got time, listen to audiobooks instead then. In the car, on the commute to work, or whatever it might be. Everyone has time. It's your priorities, and you need to make self-development a priority, trust me. And yeah, my why has changed things. So have you got a why? Like, if you haven't, then it'll be difficult for you to do the things that I'm trying to get you to do every day, because your why isn't big enough to make you disciplined and committed and like try hard enough to work towards these things. So yeah, develop a why, because it's so important. And the why can be progressive, and it can change, and it can become more like relevant. But yeah, it's so important. So yeah, the podcast is now 40 minutes long. I am going to cut it short because I'm bursting for a week. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed the podcast, guys. Next week, going to try and get a guest on the podcast between now and then. We will keep you posted with regards to that. If not, then I'll get Simon back on and we'll do one together. Hopefully the sound quality is a lot better with this Blue Yeti. And hopefully you enjoy the podcast, guys. But I always really, really, really appreciate the feedback that the podcast gets. So let me know what you think. Do me a favour and screenshot it that you're listening to it, and then stick it on your Instagram story or whatever, so people can see that you're listening and think, oh, maybe I'll listen to what this Turkish-looking guy's got to say. And hopefully some more people will listen, because the more people will listen, the more we can obviously generate this positive energy that I'm trying to get people to be more. That's the idea of the whole thing. Like if you're wearing, you see my jacket, it says at the bottom of it, be more. Like that's the idea of the podcast, is to get people to be more and have more, and and just get more out of life, because it is, like I've said so many times, it's super short, and it's not until we realise that we just have to take action to get the things we want, to make the most of the short time that we have. But yeah, happy days. Enjoy the podcast, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and as always, give me some feedback if you could. If you haven't already subscribed on iTunes, then please do that, and but please do share this with your friends, and hopefully we can create a bit of a movement. But yeah, awesome. But as always, I will remain consistent, and I will keep doing these every single week, and that is a fact. Whether I get feedback or not, like I will remain. I will keep doing it, because I know that over a long term it will pay off, and it will get in front of more people, and it will try and influence more people to be more, which is the goal. So yeah, cheers, guys. Have an incredible day, an incredible week. I look forward to hearing from you, and I will catch up with you all very soon.